Hello, and welcome to the 13th episode of By the Fire with the Shamana, a short transmission bringing shamanic wisdom into your life, one conversation by the fire at a time. It is intended as a form of medicine to heal, open perspectives, raise consciousness, and help you regain more freedom and power over your life. If you are curious to discover why your mind, your emotions, and your heart do not speak the same language, and why learning to recognize each of their voices can transform the way you make decisions, today's episode is for you. Before we begin, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. You are obviously coming from other activities, other thoughts, and right now we are opening together a sacred space for this transmission. So I invite you to take a few deep breaths. You inspire through the nose and expire through the mouth. And you feel the air you breathe circulating through your whole body, through each of your cells. Feel your whole body relaxing, becoming more present, more receptive, ready to activate your listening and learning abilities. And as you arrive more fully into this space, ask yourself, what is your state in this moment? How do you feel? If there is a comment section on the app where you're listening to this episode, I invite you to write how you feel there so we can include it together in this sacred space. And when you feel ready, enter. Last week, we explored the strange purpose of identity. We saw that identity is necessary because it allows us to experience ourselves as someone. It gives us roots, a place to stand, and a way of navigating the human experience. But we also saw that the spiritual path gradually invites us to expand beyond what we currently identify with. And as I continued reflecting on this, another question naturally appeared. If my identity is not all that I am, then who inside me is making my decisions? Because if you pay close attention, you may notice that you do not always make decisions from the same place. Sometimes a decision comes from your mental body. The mental body is experienced through the head. It is the place of thought, logic, and reasoning. It allows us to analyze, compare, organize information, make sense of the world, and solve problems. If you naturally describe yourself as a rational person, if you often feel that you are living in your head, or if you simply love the world of ideas, chances are you are very familiar with your mental body. At other times, a decision comes from your emotional body. The emotional body is primarily experienced through the belly. It is where we experience fear, joy, anger, sadness, guilt, excitement, love, and every other emotion that colors our inner experience. If you tend to identify with your emotions rather than seeing yourself as someone experiencing them, chances are many of your decisions are being made from your emotional body. And sometimes a decision seems to emerge from somewhere much quieter, from what many spiritual traditions call the higher self. The higher self is primarily accessed through the heart. Not because the heart is the seat of emotions, which it is not, but because the heart is the place through which a different kind of intelligence can be perceived. A quiet knowing that is not trying to convince, control, or obtain anything. It simply perceives what is deeply true. Perhaps you have experienced moments like this. You are facing an important decision, and the answer comes immediately before you have had time to analyze the situation or experience any particular emotion. You simply know what feels right. You may not be able to explain why. It may not seem logical. It may even go against what your mind or your emotions are telling you. And yet, deep inside, you feel that this decision is deeply aligned with who you are. This is what intuition is about. The challenge is that these three centers are constantly communicating with you. Yet most of us have never learned to recognize which one is speaking. We simply react to whatever appears first, without asking ourselves where it is coming from. The reason this matters is simple. Because the moment you become aware of where a decision is coming from, you are no longer reacting automatically. You become free to consciously choose the response that best serves your higher self. You regain your authority over your own life. Instead of being carried by every thought or every emotion that moves through you, you become capable of consciously choosing where you want to respond from. This is where discernment comes in. Discernment is the ability to recognize the different inner languages through which your mental body, your emotional body, and your higher self communicate with you. The mental body and the emotional body usually speak much louder. They naturally capture most of your attention. The higher self is much quieter. It does not argue. It does not insist. The higher self rarely shouts. It whispers. And perhaps the real purpose of the spiritual path is not to make that whisper louder, but to become quiet enough to hear it. As your discernment develops, you naturally become more available to your higher self. There are many different practices that can help you develop this discernment and strengthen your connection with your higher self. Personally, the path that has helped me the most is the shamanic path because it offers very practical ways of cultivating this relationship through the living world around you. In the shamanic tradition, nature is an intermediary. Plants, animals, crystals, spirit guides, and many other expressions of life become ways of entering into relationship with the higher self. These intermediaries are not there to make your decisions for you. They are not there to replace your own authority or tell you how to live your life. They simply help you enter into dialogue with a part of yourself that already has access to this deeper knowing. But regardless of the path you choose, the invitation remains the same: to become more aware of where your decisions are coming from, to stop reacting automatically, and to consciously choose which inner voice you want to follow. And the next time you are faced with an important decision, instead of only asking yourself, what should I do? You might also ask, who inside me is answering? And does this answer serve my higher self? As in every episode, I would like us to experience this transmission together. Before we begin this exercise, just a quick reminder to use your judgment and stay safe if you are driving or doing any activity that requires your full attention. Now, if you feel comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment and simply take a slow breath. Allow your body to soften a little. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your face, and simply notice the space your body is occupying right now. Now, I would like you to bring to mind a decision you made recently. It can be any type of decision, as long as you remember the situation clearly. Now you are going to observe your decision-making process. There is nothing to judge or change. I simply invite you to observe with honesty and curiosity. Take a moment to place yourself back into that situation and ask yourself, before your mind began analyzing the situation, before your emotions reacted, did you already know? Did a quiet answer appear immediately? Did you sense what felt deeply right? Did you trust it? Did you follow it? Did you question it, rationalize it, or even ignored it? When you made that decision, what was happening in your mental body? Was your mind analyzing every possible outcome? Making lists of pros and cons? Trying to figure out the most rational and logical answer? Now remember what was happening in your emotional body. Were you feeling excitement, fear, anxiety, relief, joy, or another emotion? Simply observe. This exercise is not about judging the decision you made. It is about becoming more aware of how you made it. Now take one final slow breath, and when you feel ready, gently bring your attention back to the space around you. And as every week, I would like to leave you with a simple integration practice to continue exploring this concept during the week ahead. For the next 7 days, I invite you to become curious about your own decision-making process. Each time you notice yourself making a decision, whether it is something small or something important, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, where is this decision coming from? Is it coming from your mental body, your emotional body, your higher self, or perhaps from a combination of all three? There is no right or wrong answer. The invitation is simply to observe. And then ask yourself one more question. Do I feel deeply aligned with this decision? Now say your decision out loud to yourself and simply notice how your body responds. Does it soften or tense? Does it feel more open or more contracted? Again, there is nothing to judge, simply observe. If the answer is yes, simply notice what that feels like. If the answer is no, become curious. What is creating that feeling? Is your mind trying to protect you? Are your emotions asking to be heard? Or is your higher self quietly inviting you in another direction? Observe what you discover throughout the week. Discernment begins with self-observation. What this episode invites us to remember is that the quality of our decisions depends on the place within us from which we make them. Discernments begin the moment we became aware of who is speaking. And wisdom begins the moment we consciously choose who we want to follow. Before we close this sacred space together, I invite you to take one final deep breath. You inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth. And you simply notice how you feel compared to the beginning of the episode. You can also take a mental note about what you want to take with you from this moment by the fire today. We can now close this sacred transmission space together. The journey continues within you. Walk gently, walk consciously, and remember, you are never walking alone. If the energy of this transmission resonated with you, I would be truly grateful if you chose to share it as you feel appropriate, because every time this sacred space is shared, its energy continues to expand and reach the people who may need it most. You can also continue and deepen the journey with me on Substack. This is where I share whispers from the Shamana, a weekly publication to nourish your deeper self and awaken the shaman within. The address is thedigitalshamana with an A at the end, .substack.com. Thank you truly for your presence here today, for taking this moment for yourself, and for stepping into this space. And I will see you by the fire again very soon.